Shana Tova, everyone. This time last year, I was in a very different place. I was still writing a speech for Rosh Hashanah, but I was getting ready for my family to come to campus to hear me speak, to have them see the family I had built for myself on campus. This year, I wrote from home, and for weeks, I had nothing to say. Sitting before an empty dock, I wanted to have something to say, some great insight to share with you all. Not only for the sake of writing a good devar, but for the sake of having some new perspective to start the year with. I was looking for inspiration that was not present. Finding inspiration is hard right now, not because of writer's block. It's just hard to find inspiration when we're stressed. For the last 6 months, I've barely touched my music. I tried to inspire myself by picking up a new instrument, and it still felt like a band-aid for the loss I was keenly feeling. Many people, including me, made resolutions going into quarantine. It was a time for things that we previously didn't have time for. I went back to making origami hearts, to crocheting, to baking. Now, as I look at the new year, these resolutions are no longer enough. In writing this and looking forward, I'm looking for something deeper, something more. Looking for something in services, in life, to carry me into the new year. The new year is supposed to be an inflection point, and I haven't been able to make it so. The Torah portions for Rosh Hashanah are most certainly points of inflection for the people we read about. In the first story we read, Sarah has Abraham send her handmaiden Hagar and Abraham's first son Ishmael away to ensure Isaac carries on Abraham's legacy. Hagar is given a skin of water and sent out into the wilderness. Once the water runs out, Hagar places her son in a bush, so she doesn't have to watch him suffer. She weeps and calls out to God in her despair. The text says, "Then God opened her eyes, and she saw a well of water." And the commentary mentions that the well might have been there all along, and Hagar hadn't seen it. In the second story, the Akedah, Abraham is asked to make the ultimate sacrifice and offer up his only child. At the last possible moment, an angel of God stops him. The text says, when Abraham looked up, his eye fell upon a ram caught in the thicket by its horns. In Hagar's story, her eyes were opened and she saw an alternative. In Abraham's story, the angel stopped him for long enough for him to see an alternative path forward. Hagar lost her hope and called out. Abraham was full of faith and resolute. In opening their eyes, they were able to see a better path that would allow them to save their children. Opening their eyes gave them what they needed to move through their inflection point. Reading these stories to find my inspiration for this speech, in addition to being a Jewish Learning Fellowship intern, has brought me back into the habit of talking with my CJL mentors and friends. In getting to watch these wonderful people lead services, I am opening my eyes and my heart to the fact that this year is different geographically, but I am thankful to see that I am still sharing it not only with my family at home, but with my CJL family. My inspiration comes from these people, and it is my hope that I will find perspective and solace in my time with them. It is my prayer for us all that during this holiday and during the new year, that our eyes will be open and we will see a path forward. Shana Tova.